So the idea for the exhibition, Some of Us Are Brave, came out of a discussion I was having with a friend, and I said I wanted to showcase black women's work, but I was talking specifically about an artist called Judy Bowman, who is a African American artist who returned to a love of art at 64. And I said to my friend that I thought that Judy was really brave, that after I don't know how many years working as a kindergarten teacher, she decided to pursue her art. And I said, that was brave. And she said to me, oh, but you're brave. And I said, no, I'm not. And then we had a back and forth, you're brave, no, I'm not. Anyway, the point is that I decided that, lots of women are brave in big ways and in small ways. And I felt that a lot of black women artists are very brave, but they go unrecognised, and their stories aren't championed and platformed. And so I decided to create an exhibition of black women's work, and then I decided to call it Some of Us Are Brave. And Some of Us Are Brave, the title is taken from a collection of writings from the 1980s, and the full title is All the Women Are White, All the Men Are Black, but Some of Us Are Brave. And it speaks to the intersectionality of race, class and gender. So when we're talking about race, we're generally talking about black men. When we're talking about gender, we're generally talking about black women, white women. And black women don't feature in any of those discussions. But nevertheless, even though, as I said, black women are often marginalised from lots of different areas of life, black women artists, they continue to do the work, they continue to produce art and tell stories that are meaningful to them. I just wanted to platform that.
My voice, she be cloaking soul. This my voice, she be effervescence, timely expression. This my essence be cloaking voice. She be masked by fleshly voice, considered, spirit riveted she be flow, she be incandescent.
So then once I came up with the idea of showcasing black women's work, then I had to think about a theme, because that's how I work. I tend to work thematically. So the theme that I really wanted to explore in Some of Us Are Brave is feminine form and function. So what is a black feminine aesthetic? And what's the form it takes in terms of shape, line, colour, medium? How does that manifest itself in the production of their work? And then function, what is the purpose, what is the intention behind their work? So I was really looking for work that reflected those ideas. So in this show in Oxford, we have 15 cross-generational artists, and the women come from African Caribbean and Caribbean backgrounds. So we have women from Cuba, Guadeloupe, obviously Black British, Nigeria, Zambia, and so on, all expressing ideas around the feminine form and function. But within that, they have their own specific narratives or themes that they're trying to explore. So in the case of Bryony Benjabat and Bakani and Dinah Rosa, they're exploring themes of our interconnectedness with nature. And they do it in very different ways, because Dinah Rosa's work is quite figurative, quite pop arty, it's very poppy, and she's influenced by Henry Rousseau. Bryony's work is more, there's a lot of abstraction in it. It is abstract, sorry, but there's a lot of figuration in her work, whereas Bakani's work is wholly abstract, but nevertheless they're dealing with the same kinds of themes. And so what I want to show in this exhibition, for example, is that even though these women, these artists are dealing with similar themes, they express them, very differently through their practice. But essentially what they're all talking about is how interconnected we are, not just to people, but to all things, to nature. And once we lose that connection with nature, we lose our connection with each other.
I love that. I've just finished reading Sam Salvan's book, Lonely Londoners. And he, for those of you who don't know him, he was a Trinidadian author who moved to the UK in his 20s, maybe, or late teens. He wrote the first book in patois, and it talks about that time before people had it's a lot of parties and a lot of things. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
But it is just amazing to think of that time before everything
us.
we know,
Yeah.
before the doilies.
Before the doilies, yes. Definitely.
Even before the living room.
Yeah.
Before the living room, yeah.
I think for me, with why I wanted to start Granny's House, as I said, was about, similar to what you said, it was a love letter to that generation and all of that they had done. But it wasn't so much looking back, it was, that girl in that painting is my 16-year-old cousin. So she has everything ahead of her. She's looking at life, she's very confident about all of the things and the talent. She does poetry, she does acting, she does all of this stuff, roller skating. And so she's got this confidence about the life ahead of her, but she's standing on all that came before her. And it is about linking those generations, so that I think it's really important I live in South London, I live in not the greatest part of South London, and I look at this generation of teens or my children who don't know where they come from. I think that's really important, that they understand the sacrifices that were made, and that joy, and I think that would just give them a sense of pride, regardless of how much money they had. I'm not ashamed of the fact that my granny was a cleaner and a seamstress. I'm proud of that, and that's part of me, and that's given me the freedom to create. With my cousin, she's going to be flying and everything's ahead of her, but that was what it was about, linking the two.
So you see some sense of hope in
I think
what you've
so.
achieved, for other people looking at it, I presume that sort of will evoke that in them when they see those images and see the strength of which you've moved from one to the other, and for a young 16-year-old to know that she's got a positive future ahead of her at this time.
So Some of Us Are Brave is a touring exhibition, and the reason why it's a touring exhibition is because there just isn't enough opportunity to see black people's work, or in this particular case, black women's work. And bringing it to Oxford was really important, and that was really thanks to Kieran Cox of Fusion Arts, because he really saw my vision and really got on board with that and wanted to bring it to Oxford to kind of disrupt the visual landscape in Oxford, because there's just so little opportunity to see black women's work, and so little opportunity to see the diversity of work that we have here as well. Because as you can see, we've got ceramics, we've got sculpture, we've got paintings, we've got mixed media work. I mean, it's so diverse, and you actually don't even see that within the art museums and galleries that you have in Oxford. But what's been really delightful, humbling as well, is the reaction from people in Oxford. And I'm talking about the broad community in Oxford, just how they've responded to the exhibition and to the works. I mean, it's been really quite joyful, to get the feedback. and people just really appreciate it. And it just shows that, that there is room for this kind of exhibition in Oxford, and it just really requires a little bit of imagination on the part of museums and galleries and curators to think more broadly about art and different types of art and what art is communicating, to Oxford, for example, because this is where we are. They just need to think much more broadly about that.